Tell me a little bit about what your job is right now. Where has your career taken you at this point?
My entire career has been an evolution, honestly. A lot of people decide to be a vet when they're 2. They always want to be a vet when they grow up. I didn't decide to be a vet until I was an undergrad. I actually went to college thinking I'd be anthropology. So then I changed to vet. When I applied to vet school, I was waitlisted the first year. I did not get in. Believe it or not, the Dean of Admissions told me I didn't have motivation enough to get the extra motivation points, so he told me to do some stuff and reapply. So I did. I went and got my master's, and when I was doing that, decided that I wanted to be a surgeon. So before I ever got into vet school, I wanted to be a surgeon. I loved it. I loved fixing things, the immediate gratification. When you decide to become a specialist, you pick small animal, large animal, pick small animal. So I evolved that way. I matched for an internship and residency at Mississippi State in the South, which is not where I'm from, and I wasn't excited to go there. But when you match, that's where you go. And when I went there for my internship, I fell in love with the South. It was a great place for me. It gave me my residency. It gave me a faculty position in academics. I was there for almost 10 years, and at the end had started a rehab sports medicine program through there and had been appointed chief of surgery. So it obviously worked out, and I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason. Met my husband there, had 2 kids there, so it was a very good fit for me, and I grew up. But like most children, they need to leave the home to really get out on their own. So everybody thought I'd stay in academics. I have over 50 publications, book chapters. I lecture nationally very frequently, and I liked it. I'm still adjunct faculty, but leaving academics was a big step, and surgeons do it all the time. That's not uncommon to go to private practice. You can make more money in private practice. You're certainly in bigger cities than private practice, so that's something that can kind of draw you. And there's lots of pros and cons to both, but I felt that pull and made that pull. And then I evolved again. In private practice, I was supposed to be the second surgeon, but things switch, ebb and flows in private practice, so I became the solo surgeon, 100% call. I cut every case, so I'm on call all the time, working in the middle of the night, working all through the days, every weekend. And at the time, I had a 6-month-old baby and also a 3-year-old daughter. And it's tough. And any working mom that works outside of the home and in the home knows mommy guilt. And mommy guilt is a strong and powerful thing. So my career evolved again. And one day, I went 5 days without seeing my 6-month-old baby son. And I was waking up before he did to go to work. I was coming home after he was asleep. And I had an after-work nanny to pick them up at school because my husband couldn't always get off on time too. So I picked him up from the daycare one time because I got off early. And he screamed bloody murder because he had no idea who I was. And so that absolutely took my heart, and I decided at that point when things really were evolving in my career again, like this is not good. You cry, you take a break, you take a step back, and then you get centered again. And the things that center me are my family and my faith. And so I moved home. I just up and moved across the country back to St. Louis. And then you close the book on that and you move on. And so I've made myself a brand new practice 2 years ago. It's a concierge practice. So now I spend my days being thanked for helping people, appreciated because I'm in there, saving the clients money, making the vets money, and helping my patients, treating them like they're my own. And I'm never on call. My weekends are free. My nights are free. And I pick my kids up from school, and I have not missed a sporting event yet. It's amazing. But I wouldn't have started this way. You know, there's a stigma for, you know, a concierge practice or a traveling practice, and that's, I think, the only downside of what I do. But it's scary to change. Change is scary. But I think, again, things happen for a reason, and you just have to follow your heart, stay centered on what it is, and be able to close the book on the mommy guilt, because mommy guilt can be too powerful sometimes.
What would you say to your colleagues who may find themselves in that kind of that moment of despair. What would your advice be to someone who's struggling with being a mom and being a veterinarian and not knowing what to do?
I would say don't quit the profession. Don't make any rash moments, but acknowledge and accept the guilt, the scariness, and realize what caused it. You know, did you break down because you were exhausted from work? Did you break down because he just broke your heart at 6 months and he thinks you're a stranger? You know, if you're missing out on family stuff, figure out exactly what it is that you're missing out on that's the deal breaker for you. And then find somebody to help support you that you can talk it through with or help you make that happen, like your family, your husband, your spouse, whatever. Move forward, get the plan, do it, make it work, and go. Because if you don't leave it behind you and move forward when you've got a solution and really give it your all without being held back, how are you going to know if it was a good change for you? And everybody changes. Almost nobody stays in their first job out of vet school. Almost nobody does that. So change is normal and it's okay.
Did you ever consider quitting?
I don't think that I could ever quit veterinary medicine. I did very much consider going back to academics because the on-call schedule and the stress for the family is less. I definitely considered that move after private practice. But really, again, the thing that centers me is family. So moving closer to St. Louis to have my cousins, my brothers, my sisters, my parents closer to help was the biggest thing for me. I don't know that I could ever give up veterinary medicine. I'm blessed that I found a career I'm so passionate about young. But yeah, I could see it evolving again, certainly. Maybe I decide to pick up more teaching again because I obviously like to lecture and teach, or industry if something later on, but I am super happy with what I'm doing now. I know a lot of my friends, my classmates, go part-time so they can have more family time. I know that negotiations for contracts, people are much more strict about what they want in time off, and that's important. But I think that might also be a reason why when you're the primary breadwinner, it's hard for people to stick all the way through the poverty involved with internship and residencies. So I gave up a lot to be where I am. I was in school till I was 31. That's a long time. So to be in school that long, I think it also weeds out people that won't stick with it. I would have a really hard time giving up everything I sacrificed and not doing surgery anymore. I think I'll probably die with a scalpel blade in my hand. But no judgment on the ones that do or go part-time, or lots of women do go to academics after private practice and surgery because of the schedule. It's very conducive to having a family. Nobody blinked an eye when I took 3 months off for maternity leave because that's part of a state institution. You didn't have to deal with giving up a potential paycheck for maternity leave. So it helped. It helped as a female to grow a family in academics.
How common do you think the mommy guilt thing is in veterinary medicine?
Wow, you so don't have kids yet. It's huge. It's huge. And I don't think it's a veterinary medicine thing, but you love what you do or you wouldn't do it. You're passionate about veterinary medicine or you wouldn't be in it. You're not in it for the money, despite what the blogs will put out there. You're not in it for the money. But you obviously love your kids. And so if you're giving 100% to your career and 100% to your kids, are you really giving 100% to both? No. And that's where the guilt comes in, because you don't want to shortchange your kids, but you certainly don't want to shortchange your patients either. So it's this feeling of not giving 100% all the time. And we're geeks. We're big, high type A achievers, or we wouldn't be in this field. So it's intense and it can be overwhelming. And I think it's important to have a stress relief and to be okay with the guilt. Having guilt is not a bad thing. Letting it control you is. But I'm Catholic, so that's like a double whammy for the guilt. So it can be intense. And I think it's important to stay centered for whatever that is for you. So you can close the book on the guilt and move forward.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about what you mean when you say close the book on guilt?
Anytime my life gets shattered, the first time I didn't get into vet school, the first time we were trying to have a kid and having problems with it, as I'm deciding that my new job is not the right situation as it's all evolving, I do three things. I bawl like a baby. Like, it's okay to feel the loss, deal with the loss, and kind of mentally process whatever's going on, whatever just catastrophic happened. And then I think it's important to find that focus of what's going to bring you joy and love and support in your life. So whatever it is to build you back up, go towards the positive in your life. And then close the book on the bad so you can focus on putting 100% of your effort towards moving forward. Don't let your past define you. It made you who you are, but it has no indication of how successful you'll be in the future. So I think it's important that when you change or adjust or something bad happens, move through those steps and then close it and move on. So it's not dictating your future success by hanging onto that anchor behind you.
I think a lot of maybe veterinarians in your situation might look at their career and look at their family and feel like they had to compromise. So was that difficult to kind of craft a non-traditional path forward?
It was difficult and it was scary because it's not the norm. It's very new. In fact, when I started my concierge practice a little over 2 years ago, there was a group of about 10 of us that kind of talked back and forth, and I used them as my board of directors to kind of help set it up using their success and their pitfalls to help build mine. And I think that's important when you make any life decision, is to get input from several people you respect. Now it's a group of almost 50 of us around the country that are boarded surgeons that do what I do, and we talk back and forth, and that's really nice to have that kind of sounding board. But it's change, and it's scary. My thing is that I am getting to talk to people, I'm getting to talk to my clients, I'm doing the follow-up, I'm feeling appreciated every day, and I am not cutting any corners. I'm very clear that I treat my patients as if they're my own. So there's nothing low income, low quality of what I'm doing. My drills cost $40,000. It's more than my car. So I don't cut corners. I do sciatic blocks. I do topical Recovera, the transdermal Recovera, the fentanyl. So nothing about it is skimping. So I'm still doing top quality. I do choose my cases appropriately, so I don't have something that needs 24-hour care afterward, things like that. Those need the referral centers, but I'm the middle ground as far as elective. The concierge practice I have, it's a human thing. Humans do it all the time. Concierge practices are so typical in the human world, but they're new for us. I don't like to call it mobile practice because I think when I say that, people think I show up with a van and do spay and neuters in the back parking lot. Because I do consultations, rechecks, rehab protocols, and advanced surgical techniques that I'm boarded is why I prefer to call it a concierge practice, more after the human model. So my client is the vet. I'm here to make it better for them. But yes, it was hard to create. It was a scary first step. I luckily had the support of my family and my husband and some loans. I mean, I had to buy all the equipment. Surgery equipment costs a lot. But in my area, there are boarded radiologists that are concierge. There's a dental specialist that also travels around. There are internists and oncologists that do it as well. So it is becoming more and more commonplace. And the quality of life, I never knew. I never knew that I could be not on call ever as a surgeon. In fact, one of my mentors used to tell me going through vet school that I should be a dermatologist because there are never dermatology emergencies. And who knew? Who knew I could do this?